This video is on how to be alone with yourself and how to be okay with that, because I feel like a lot of people out there are very much scared of being in their own company, so they run towards people that are no good for them, or they date people that are horrible for them and have a toxic group of friends just because they don't want to sit with their own thoughts. And I would say that's one of the biggest issues nowadays. So here's my advice on how you can feel okay alone and not have a problem with being in your own company, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with being by yourself. And when you learn to do so, you end up attracting people that are actually aligned with you and that are good for you, because you're okay on your own and you don't need to be surrounded by people that are no good for you. So in terms of being alone with yourself, you basically just have to treat it like you're with one of your own friends. Like, let's say you're just hanging out with your best friend. You're going to become your own best friend. You can do whatever activities you would do with another person, whether it's going outside on a walk, you're going shopping, you're going to the gym, you're going, I don't know, on public transit, whatever it is, or on a drive or something. Whatever you would be doing with somebody else, you just practice doing that on your own, which sounds really simple, but people find it really difficult, surprisingly. But the more you do tiny stuff like that, whether it's like you're going on a little errand by yourself, you're picking up a drink from a cafe, even going to a restaurant, whatever you want to do with another person, you just slowly start implementing that with yourself. And in the same way that you try to get to know the friends or the partners in your life is exactly how you're going to try to get to know yourself. So let's say you're showing an interest in a new friend in your life, right? You're asking them what they like to do in their free time. What kind of movies do they like to watch? What kind of music do they listen to? What kind of person are they in general? Like, what kind of qualities do they have that are positive? What qualities do they have that are negative? Like, what's something toxic about them? What's something beautiful about them? Those things that you try to get to know in another person is exactly how you're supposed to get to know yourself. So you just ask yourself a million different questions, and most of those questions you're going to have an answer to, right? So if I sit here and I think to myself, like, oh, what are some toxic traits about me? Let's say, like, one of them I would say is sometimes I have difficulty communicating and I would rather go ghost than communicate something. And in the same way that you would pick up on those traits in another person is how you're going to get to know yourself, and that's how you grow a stronger relationship with yourself and how you're going to trust yourself more, because the people that you trust in your life currently are most likely people that you've gotten to know over a span of time and you think you have a pretty decent idea of who they are as a person, and people that show up for you in your rough moments, which is exactly what you're going to do with yourself. When you're spiraling, when you're going through something that is not ideal and you're going through a list of negative emotions, let's say you're very angry at someone, or you're very upset over a situation, or you're just frustrated from your day, you're anxious about a test you have tomorrow, you're upset about a grade you got back, you're upset that you just had a fight with a friend, whatever the situation is, how you show up for yourself in those moments is going to indicate how much you end up trusting yourself, along with another list of things, but that's a pretty big part. So in those moments when you're feeling really, really upset and all you want to do is run to another person and depend on someone else to clean up your mess and listen to your problems and have them provide you with solutions, take a minute to just try to understand it yourself. Just sit there with your feelings, journal about it, talk about it out loud. I don't care if you look crazy talking to yourself. Talk to yourself if you need to. Record a voice memo ranting and don't send it to anyone. Write it down in your notes app. Whatever it is that you have to do to show up for yourself in moments like that is what you should be doing. And showing up for yourself doesn't necessarily need to mean like the things that I just listed. Maybe showing up for yourself is just going on a little nature walk, going to grab a drink, going on a little drive with some music. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're providing that support that you would be providing to someone else for yourself. Because I think a big problem these days is, let's say you're not doing well as a person, and you have people in your life that are also not doing well. So they run to you with their problems, but you haven't even filled your own cup yet. So you're sitting there feeling drained enough as is, and now you're expected to jump at everyone's beck and call and help them with their issues when you've barely even helped yourself. That's a problem, and that's how a lot of draining relationships and friendships begin. It's because you keep on giving your all to other people when you should be focusing on yourself. And the analogy I saw somewhere that I definitely did not come up with is, if you're holding like 2 cups of water and both of them are, let's say they're half full, and you're focused on your friend over here, anybody in your life, and they want more poured into their cup, so you start taking your half full cup and you just keep pouring it into theirs. eventually theirs gets full, right? But you're left with less water in yours than you started with. So now we got a problem because you just gave that all to somebody else. You gave your energy, you gave your time, your care to another person when you didn't even have enough of that for yourself. You should focus on filling your own cup first, and that comes with doing things you love, showing up for yourself when you're upset, and just taking the time to really get to know yourself, which is where all those questions come from. And I'm a very big advocate for doing shadow work and doing inner work and basically just playing a little getting to know you activity, but just with yourself. And it's not even something that you need to write down. It's just throughout your day. If you pay more attention to your own thoughts and you try to make your mindset and your headspace as positive as it can be, you're going to end up getting to know yourself very, very well, exactly the way you would get to know another person. And spending time alone with yourself is going to show you who you are more than you spending time with other people. Not to say to distance yourself from everyone and just be alone 24/7. No, absolutely not. You should have company in your life, but it should be good company. And the way that you attract that good company is by being okay with who you are as a person, because then you're going to be at a point where you're like, okay, I'm good on my own. I'm okay with doing stuff by myself. I have no issues being alone with my own thoughts. So now whoever tries to get into my life, I can evaluate if they're worth it or not. Because if you're already okay as is, why would you allow shitty quality people to come into your life? You wouldn't, right? You wouldn't date someone that's making you feel drained out of your mind when you're all right on your own. You wouldn't have a toxic group of friends that make you feel left out and put you down when you're okay hanging out by yourself. And the minute the universe realizes you're good with that and you're content on your own is exactly when you're going to attract people that are meant for you and that are actually aligned for you. Because when you're constantly picking up on other people's habits, you're thinking in the same way that other people are, you're doing the same activities that they are when this isn't what you would be doing by yourself, you're already in the wrong environment. You're already in a place where you're letting other people dictate who you are, and that's a problem. People are not going to tell you who you are. You have to tell them. And when you don't tell them who you are based on your actions and the way that you carry yourself, they end up telling you, and that's the problem. So basically just think of it as growing a relationship with any other person. You spend quality time with them. You're not sitting there like on your phone the entire time, right? Like when you're trying to get to know someone, you're not just going to be scrolling through TikTok when you're right beside them. You're going to actually speak to them. You're going to actually get to know them. You're going to do activities that they like to do, and you're going to have quality conversation during it. So that's exactly what you're going to do with yourself. Whether it's like you want to watch a TV show, you want to watch certain YouTube video, listen to a podcast, read a certain book, go to a certain place you've always wanted to try out. Whatever that is that you would want to do with another person, you start doing that with yourself. And over time, you're going to see a lot of progress in earning a lot of self-trust. And another way that that self-trust and being alone with yourself comes into play is whatever promises you're making to other people, you stand there and you think to yourself, okay, I just made a promise, right? I just gave this person my word. I have to follow through. They're depending on me. That's exactly the way you should be viewing yourself. You make a promise to yourself, you just gave yourself your word, you're depending on you. That is just as important as another person depending on you, if not more. So if I tell myself I'm going to get up at a certain time tomorrow and I'm going to do exactly this at that time. If I wake up tomorrow and I hit the snooze button and I go back to sleep, I just lost a sense of self-trust with myself because I didn't follow through on my word. Now the next time I tell myself I'm going to do something, I'm going to trust myself less. Exactly the way you're going to trust your friend or your partner less when they told you they're going to follow through with something and they didn't. So those little moments of building self-trust are very, very much important. In the same way that you're going to show that to another person, you need to show that to yourself. And a big misconception I see nowadays is that being alone is embarrassing and it means that you have no friends and you have no one around you and it's just like pathetic. That's not true at all. If anything, being alone by yourself for even like, let's say a period of time, let's say you don't have like the best people in your life right now, so you do isolate and you're alone by yourself for a minute, that is better than being one of those people that's surrounded by the worst company you could possibly think of for the rest of their life. And let's say like they're posting it online and they're looking great and they're just surrounded by so many people, but how many of those people are actual quality people? And there's always that saying that goes around like quality over quantity. And that is so true. It's better to have one person that would go to the depths of the world with you than somebody who would just discard you in any moment that they get a chance. And let's say, a big group of people that seem to be there for you, but in reality, when shit hits the fan, they're nowhere to be seen. That's not a brag, like that's not a flex. The real flex is that you can be by yourself and you can do things by yourself, and you can also do things with other people. And that way, when you do choose to get out your comfort zone and be around other people and try to attract good quality, it's going to actually be good quality, as opposed to settling and being like, wow, I don't want to sit alone with my own thoughts, so I'm going to go distract myself with XYZ. And that's another problem. Constant distractions. Are you ever really alone with yourself? Do you ever just sit there in your room quietly and you just think? Is that ever the case? Or is there always something playing in the background? Is there always some sort of song? There's always someone you're texting, always something you're scrolling through, even keeping busy with school, keeping busy with work. All of those things are good to have, but they shouldn't be your 24/7. There should still be moments where you're completely alone in your thoughts, and you're okay to be alone in your thoughts, because you're not going to get anywhere if you don't know how to be silent with yourself. That is a really important trait to have, and meditation is another big way to practice that, which honestly, myself, I haven't been doing that for a really, really long time, and it's something that people say is really difficult to do, which I agree. Like, when you're sitting there and you're just in utter silence, a million thoughts are racing at you. You're going to start thinking about the things you have to do that day, the random thing you did yesterday, the friend you're supposed to see next week, the random mistake you made 3 years ago. Like, you're just going to start thinking about a million different things, which is why it's so difficult to meditate. And being alone and silent with your own thoughts is very, very hard, which is why there's so many people out there that are just constantly hitting their friends up, constantly with their romantic partner, just constantly doing something productive so that they don't end up there. And don't get me wrong, productivity is beautiful, productivity is great. Having discipline and getting your stuff done is ideal. But if you crash out and you're not okay in the moments where you don't have something hands-on to do and something to actually think about, then we've got a problem here, because you're the one that has to live with you for the rest of your life. You're the only one in your head. And if you're not okay in that head, you're going to have so many issues in life. So that was my take on how to be more comfortable being alone with yourself. And I hope that helped literally anybody out there.